Well, I just learned that the tariffs are catching up with Litime as well. If you go to their website, they've got a countdown timer. You've got 3 days before they increase their prices across the board. So right now, I've got a discount code down below to save you a couple of percentage points. So check out this video on a really neat 12-volt inverter charger. Their 24-volt all-in-one is also one of my favorite items. So see if these products might work out for you, but you got just a couple of days before we get a great big price hike. So I've got 2 new products to take a look at today, and so I thought I would bring you on a little build along. We have got a 3,000 watt 12-volt inverter charger and a 12-volt 280 amp hour battery, both from Litime. And this is a $80 cart from Amazon, which is really super nice for moving these things around because they're not light. The inverter is about 50 pounds and the battery is about 50 pounds. So these two are really designed to go together. They're obviously both 12 volts. So I'm going to build a power station and take you along for the ride. So this really cannot be any more simple. The inverter has got some big battery terminals back here. I just need to connect the battery terminals to the battery terminals down here. I need to make up some patch cords, and then I need to do the AC input and output for the inverter. It does have a single plug here, but I know underneath here are some hardwired ports. Okay, I think we're good. So the biggest wire that I've got currently is 4 gauge, which is kind of the minimum that I would use for something this big. It really needs to be a 2 or larger, but this is all I've got on hand, so we'll work with this for right now. So step number 1, strip the ends. Yes, they do make a fancy tool for stripping. I just use a razor knife. Try not to nick the inside terminals. Try not to cut your finger off. Particularly for power wire where you're going to have a huge amount of amperage going through it, you want the best. This is Windy Nation wire. I've used it since the very beginning. I think it's the best. I think the pricing is fair. They also make it pre-made with the terminals already on it. If you don't want to get into crimping and stuff like that, you can buy it prefab if you're going to do just a one and done. But Windy Nation, absolutely not sponsored. And when I crimp, I try to crimp twice. I try to get on either end. And one day I'll buy a hydraulic crimper. Got my heat shrink tubing. And this is a butane creme brulee torch from Home Depot, or from Amazon. 1 down, 3 to go. So now what I'm going to do is go ahead and drill some holes in the lid of this little cart, so that way my power wires can go straight down. Step bit. And I actually needed to change to a deep socket because the bolts are so long. So now before I make the final positive connection, I'm going to show you a little secret. So this is a pre-charge resistor. If I hook this power wire directly to the positive terminal, I'm going to get a spark. That's just how it is because the capacitors inside here have to charge up at the first time you connect. I've never had any problems. It's a little creepy. You kind of get used to it. You do electronics long enough that you get a pop. You know, if you ever done a car stereo, hooked up an amp to your car battery, it happens. Apparently it is possible to damage your inverter from that surge. It's never happened to me, but for, you know, a couple of dollars to kind of do it the right way, why take the chance? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect the pre-charge resistor to the positive power wire and then touch it to the battery terminal. Okay, my amperage shows 0, so I'm going to go ahead and connect it. Hey, no spark. So before we turn this thing on, let's talk about some features. So this is an inverter charger, which is cool. So when I plug this thing into the wall with an AC cord, it will charge the battery, which is why I have not pre-charged it running up to this test. It also has a remote, so I'm going to plug that in so we can see what the screen looks like. Hey, if you're enjoying this, give a thumbs up and drop a comment down below. Thanks. Okay, there's my remote. And I turned it on. Nothing exploded, so that's good. And you can cycle between battery priority or AC priority. So you can use this as a great big huge UPS. So let's put a little load in it and see what the screen looks like. So how about that for irony? I plugged in my studio lights and then a little box fan into this. So I am actually running my studio off of this battery now. 60 Hertz, I'm at a 4% output because I'm like barely over 100 watts. Pretty neat, pretty simple, huh? So now we need to get the AC cord into this. So this is a 3000 watt inverter. This socket cannot support that. You know, a normal AC socket can only support about 1800 watts. And just like their big inverter, they gave a little goodie bag with some ferrules to go in there. So if I was hardwiring this into a sub panel with like some 12 or some 14, you might consider that. For what I'm about to do, they're not necessary, but a nice addition. There's also some wall anchors because this thing's really heavy if you're trying to mount this thing on the wall inside of a cabin. So cool little goodie set, screwdriver even. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this metal power strip, shot power strip. It's got these mounting tabs on the side, and I'm going to cut the cord about a foot away from the power strip. So the male end will become my charge cord, and then this will give me a row of power outlets. Now this is still only rated to 1800 watts. So if you're planning on using this thing for 3000 for, you know, an air conditioner or something like that, this is still not big enough. You'll have to hardwire through those that barrier strip to a sub panel. So this is still not big enough, but at least this will give me multiple outlets for multiple smaller things. So that's one of the funny kind of rubs to all of this, is that if you really want to get over 1800 watts at the same time to fully utilize this, you're going to have to hardwire it to a sub panel. And stripping the outside jacket without cutting the inside insulation is a skill. I could buy a fancy wire stripper to do it, or you just go real slow, get it exposed, and then peel it back. White is neutral, black is line, green is ground. And I actually appreciate that the barrier strips are quite large, so I feel very comfortable. You could get, you know, a 12 or a 10 inside there, so that's pretty nice. I'm actually had to take my 18 gauge and fold it over on top of itself like a candy cane to make it thick enough that I can get it inside the screw and have the screw bite it. As you can see here, I got my white, black, green for my input and my output. So when I plug this thing in, we'll start charging the battery and the output will light up my power strip. Okay, so I got it plugged in here. Power strip is lit up. Fan just kicked on because the charger is going. We've got some lights here on the top that says fast charge. And my battery voltage is going up. Now, let's talk about the battery, because this battery has Bluetooth in it. So let's check that out. Recorder, so let me show you what you're seeing. So this is the Bluetooth app for the Litime battery. So download this from the Play Store, and you can see here on the screen that we're at a 50% charge. We're coming in between 40 and 50 amps. So this is going to take a couple of hours to charge. So this is neat that I don't have to have an external battery level meter. I can just watch it from the app and know what my current coming in or going out is. So if you've been around my channel for a little while, you might recognize this all-in-one Litime inverter charger MPPT that I reviewed a couple of months ago. And I really like it. So you're probably asking yourself, what's the difference between this and this? Because on paper, they look pretty similar. So this is a 24 volt, 3000 watt inverter with like a 9,000 watt surge. It has a 40 amp AC output charger and a 40 amp solar input, MPPT input. This is a 12 volt, 3000 watt inverter with a 9,000 watt surge. it doesn't have solar in it. And they're about the same amount of money. And they're about 500 bucks, thereabouts. Now you can add solar to this system with this standalone 60 amp MPPT charge controller pretty easily. Just bolt it right here and connect wires down to the battery leads. But it's an additional cost, which makes this more expensive than this. So what's the pros and cons? Well, this is a 12 volt system and this is a 24 volt system. I am personally more of a fan of 24 volt systems because your current is cut in half and so you can use smaller wires. However, what I don't like about this unit is how close the battery terminals are together. I can get an 8 gauge in here, maybe a 4, but not a lot bigger than that without using the ferrules, which I'm not a real big fan of. So I wish the terminals were further apart on this. On this unit, you can see how big the terminals are and how far apart they are. So I feel a lot more comfortable getting a big power wire on here, which I'm going to need to support the currents. Now, people who are in RVs are already running 12 volt appliances like refrigerators and lights and things like that. So I think that this unit makes more sense for an RV because you already have a 12 volt infrastructure. So if you have shore power at an RV park, you can plug into AC, charge the batteries, and pass it through to all your other appliances. Then when you unplug, you flip the battery. You also have this neat remote that you can mount on a counter someplace. That way you can turn the system on and off and have this tucked away in a cabinet someplace. So I think this makes more sense for RVs, whereas I think that the 24 volt all-in-one makes more sense for a cabin, a very small off-grid cabin where you're going to be predominantly doing solar and maybe you have a generator as a backup. You can feed more power into this on the solar side, so that makes a little bit more sense if you've got enough square footage on your roof for a solar panel system, and then you've got the AC input that you can use off a generator if the sky is gray outside and you need to juice it back up. So I think this is a better kind of mini cabin system, and I think this is a better RV camper type system. I like them both. Both have strengths and weaknesses, pros and cons, but that's where I think they kind of fit the best. So if you enjoyed this build video, give it a thumbs up and put a comment down below. And don't forget, I've got discount codes for all of Litime's website in the description. Thanks, everyone.